Thank you, everybody, and welcome to my talk. So, as the title says, I'll be speaking about Jakarta EE's evolution how- and the impact it has in this modern era and in today's Java ecosystem. Quickly about me, I'm a full stack Java developer, and I've been doing enterprise Java development for 18 years and still going. I've got a little development shop that I call Sindi Technologies. So that's where I do most of my development and consulting. Uh, I'm also a blogger and tech speaker, and that's how I became a Jakarta EE ambassador. So Reza actually saw one of my posts, and he's like, "Hey, I've seen you talk about Jakarta EE, so you want to be an ambassador?" And he explained it to me, and then I'm like, "Okay, cool." And that was before it was Jakarta EE ambassador, it was Java EE ambassador until the transition happened. And then I also run a nonprofit called DevOps for Kids South Africa. So basically, I create events to try and introduce kids to code, especially from areas where they do not have computer access, like in school or at home. So that's what I can do. And you can find me, I'm pretty much very active on social media, particularly Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and X. So if you scan the QR code, you'll find wherever I'm available. Or my link tree basically give me all the information that you need of where you can find me. You can also email me and feel free to chat to me on X. So the agenda for my talk will be what is Jakarta EE, its original foundation, where it's sitting today in modern era, how to get started with Jakarta EE as a developer, and also how to get involved with Jakarta EE if you want to contribute to cool ideas for the enterprise Java ecosystem. So Jakarta EE is basically Java EE, or what you guys know. If you are old dinosaur like me, you probably know it as J2EE or JEE or Java EE, whatever uh, whatever spelling that you know of, it's still Java EE, and it got transitioned about between 2017 to 2019, and it got transitioned to Eclipse Fund. So it's now under the new licensing, and the advantage of that is that open governance and it's community driven, meaning from from specification design or specification change to uh, being released into a major version. Everything is documented. There's a mailing list that you can join. You can see the discussion. It's shared among everyone. The technology compatibility kit is also open source, whereas when it was with Oracle, it was closed. So everything is totally open source. Um, there's a huge community and it's vendor neutral. So basically, if you want to create an application server that's just Jakarta EE compliant, you're free to do it. Just follow the process, obviously. Still the same definition as Java EE or J2EE or JEE. So it's the same set of specification that extend Java SE with features for enterprise features. So like web services, distributed computing, etc., and so forth. So same definition. It's still specification driven. New sets of APIs exist, and the existing old API are still available. Like, for example, if you've played with servlet on J2EE, servlets are still there. It's now more defined. It's more annotative based. So meaning there's less configuration with web.xml. So, and so basically the same knowledge base that you have with servlets from Java EE, you can still have it with Java Jakarta EE, and the documentation of the new feature set that exists on servlets is well defined. So the learning curve is basically minimal. So if you've been in Java EE and you used Java EE before, you can easily step into Jakarta EE and get the ball rolling, basically. And it still follows the same principle of write once, run anyway principle. So members, the key stakeholders that were in Jakarta EE have moved to Jakarta EE. And for example, also Microsoft, and then there are new stakeholders as well. For example, Microsoft joined in 2022, so when it was already Jakarta EE. And the individuals also can join. You just have to go online and then sign obviously some agreement and then join the mailing list, as I said, and then you're free to contribute. You can later I'll explain how you can contribute to Jakarta EE, but what I'm trying to prove that because of the open source community-driven approach, you can basically put your name and contribute to the improvement of Jakarta EE frameworks. So the members these are the list of current members as published online. So you can see, like, on your right-hand side are your big players like Oracle and IBM and Fujitsu, Payara as well. On the right-hand side, you can see there's Red Hat and Microsoft and Apache. And in the middle, you can see there's VMware. VMware owns Spring Framework. So basically, also Spring contributes to the Jakarta ecosystem as well. So yeah, and then there's also individual members, but you can't. It was too big to mention on just a slide. So Legacy Foundation. In 1999, we had the JPE. So it started as JPA. So JPE stands for the Java Professional Edition. And because of the complexity, it got broken down into J2E. So you can see from its evolution from J2EE 1.2 to what we call today as Jakarta EE11. So same framework, different name, different branding, different working group. So in Java EE, new specification went under the JSR, Java Server Request. And now it's just a specification that you request for a new specification, and then it goes through a whole process with a working group to see whether it gets voted and accepted by the community or it can be integrated with existing technology. So currently now we're on Jakarta EE10. Jakarta EE11 is Q1 of 2024, which will introduce things like Jakarta data. So if you from a Spring background, think of Spring data, where you annotate your interfaces with queries and whatever, and then the container will automatically do some injection of a reference implementation that you don't need to extend the interface at all. So, and then also specification for JNoSQL. So you can interface with Redis, Cassandra, or MongoDB with one interface, and the container will do the rest for you. So the challenges with Java EE was you wrote your application, And because it wasn't as modular as today, you had to, in order to make it working, you had to decide which application server you wanted to run and configure your application to run specific to the application server. So I couldn't take, for example, my Glassfish application, my application that runs specifically on Glassfish at the time and deploy it to WebLogic. They will always have some clash and issues. So that became a bottleneck. And other issues were like slow release. So Java EE transition from newer major releases took years, and while other frameworks like Spring would have regular update either on a month or a year-to-year basis. At a certain point, Oracle stopped funding the development of Java EE. So around 2015, we had a 4-year release onto Java EE8, and that caused the community to start forcing Oracle to actually either continue with the development of Java EE or give it to another organization that can actively contribute to Java EE. And hence now Oracle finally decided to give it to the Eclipse Foundation, and that's how Jakarta EE was born. But then you would ask, why do we call it Java EE? Because the trademark, Oracle owns the name Java, so they didn't want to give it away. So, and with the help of Apache, they gave the Jakarta name to Eclipse Foundation, and that's how we got Jakarta EE. And then because of the lack of interest, the lack of adoption to cloud native was also very difficult, even though Oracle was publicly broadcasting that they would go cloud native, became a de facto popular framework for building microservices. And with that, we get to Jakarta EE. So today, Jakarta EE is basically the foundation for cloud native. So if you want to build microservices today, you could either go Spring Boot or Quarkus or MicroProfile, which is also an Eclipse framework for another framework for the Eclipse Foundation. But then the underlying technology still rely on Jakarta EE. The application servers today, you can run it. There are various compatible products that runs Jakarta EE today. There's a list online that actually shows which application servers actually are compatible with which version of Jakarta EE. But basically, if you're familiar with things like Tomcat and TomEE, JBoss, or Payara, or Glassfish, IBM WebSphere, or OpenLiberty, that means if your application runs on these platforms, that means you're already part of the Jakarta EE ecosystem anyway. And popular libraries also uses Jakarta EE in one way or another, like PrimeFaces for your JSF and Omnifaces with JSF utilities. Hibernate and Eclipselets are basically JPA. CXF are your web services. Jersey is for your REST and REST Easy. World is your CDI. So most application server has World as a runtime reference, which basically does your CDI. ActiveMQ does your message queue, and Struts, well, there is Strut 6, which basically is the newer version of Struts, and that also uses servlet technology and CDI, basically. So it's in evolution. from Jakarta, Java EE8 to Jakarta EE that we have today. So Java EE and Jakarta EE, Java EE8 and Jakarta EE8 is basically the same framework. Um, so it allowed users to actually easily transition from Java EE to Jakarta EE. From Jakarta EE9, the backward compatibility with Jakarta EE8 stopped. So basically, there was no more Java X namespaces. It was just Jakarta namespace. If you had your Jakarta EE8 application to move to Jakarta EE9, the migration it wasn't an easy migration, but migration had to be done to change, for example, namespace. But everything else, the APIs was exactly the same, basically. There was no API changes as far as I could remember. And then we are now current is on Jakarta E10 and Jakarta E11. So on your left, you'll see application server that comes with every new releases of Jakarta EE7. So for example, Glassfish comes standard with every new version of Glassfish comes standard with a new release of Jakarta EE. And then over time, other application servers then follow. So on new launch of new Jakarta EE, you'll expect, for example, Jakarta EE7, you'll expect Glassfish to be compliant with Jakarta EE11. So to check if what products are compatible, you can go online to Jakarta EE/compatibility, and you can select which products are available with Jakarta EE from 8 to 10. And for now, the list on the left will tell you which application servers are basically compatible with Jakarta EE. So from Oracle WebLogic to Red Hat Wildfly to Payara and JBoss EAP, Glassfish, and WebSphere and Fujitsu, you have basically any product you can play with, and the same application can run from Glassfish to Payara without actually changing code and configurations, basically. Jakarta E10 are separated into certain profiles. So the Java EE platform contains the core profile and the web profile. So that's the entire platform with, Jakarta EE10 overall. So it contains the platform, the web, and the core profile. And the web profile is basically things that run on the web, like your servlet, JSF, your persistence, CDI, and then your platform is basically things that you can do as backend services, for example, batching and mail and messaging. And then core is basically the core foundation for the Java EE, Jakarta EE the Jakarta EE specification, basically. So, and the reason they separated from the core is basically for the easy adoption of microservices. So, microservices, for example, today uses adopt the Jakarta EE core profile. So it allows you to, with additional APIs, like for example, health and open tracing and open API. But the fundamental core of building microservices relies on the Jakarta EE core profile. So you can build actually core RESTful microservices, and you will know that your code is actually a Jakarta EE code based in a nutshell. And So this makes now Jakarta EE cloud native, and also because everything is modularized, it adopts latest version of Java SE, like for example Java Record and virtual threads. For example, Helidon can run your microservices using virtual thread as well, and then the advantage as well. You have a visible release cycle. So within 2-3 years, we've had 3 major versions of Jakarta EE. So meaning we can quickly adapt to the changes of what's required from industries and try and implement it on as a specification in Jakarta EE. Compatible products are also increasing, and the communities are also increasing. Also, because of the lightweight framework, you can actually write up your Jakarta EE application also as a standalone application. So basically, if you want to test your application, you can write a static main method and use other, if you want to test your CD application, use a container CD initializer and have Word as a reference implementation, and it will run locally as a Java main application. So it makes it simple to test as well. So you can actually run it through your test containers or your Mockito to see if your application runs as expected. And because it is cloud native, you can also find your Docker images for your favorite Jakarta EE runtimes. For example, your Wildfire and OpenLiberty have a Docker image, so you can actually build your application as a Docker image, deploy it into the cloud, and have it scaled with Kubernetes, basically. So there's an advantage now as we move in Jakarta EE forward. So with the core profile, basically, you can build your Jakarta EE application and run it using either on the flavors that you want, from Helidon to Quarkus to OpenLiberty. They kind of operate the same, but they have the favorite features, basically. So, and you can possibly micronote as well, but the advantages are there. So basically, if you run your microservice, you can deploy it you can choose any of your flavors, but your code will still not change. So basically, what I'm trying to say, in essence, is that you focus on the code, and at the time of deployment or going live, then you can choose exactly how you want to go live. From the survey, but we slowly steady. Between last and this year, we're still the second most popular framework for building microservices. So we're still there. And to get started, the quickest way to start, if you want to start from scratch, is to go to start.jakarta.ee. And there you can select which Jakarta EE version that you want to use, which profile, and dynamically change. So if there's certain application server that does not have Docker support, certain application server has Docker support. So by doing your selections, you can actually based on your selection, you can actually build your cloud native application. And then once you click generate, it downloads a zip file of your Mavenize code that you can open with your favorite IDE, and then using Maven, it will put all your dependencies as needed, and then you're quick to go. And all you have to do is just code. If you have your existing Jakarta EE application, all you have to do is have it Mavenized, select your Jakarta EE application of choice, and then update your pom.xml to Jakarta EE10 if you are using Jakarta EE10, like the picture I've shown on the right, and update your project schema to your relevant version, for example. Or if that's going to be tedious because your application is too huge, you can use tools like Open Rewrite and Eclipse Transformer, or intelligent IDEs like IntelliJ, which will help you do all the migration and namespace changes for you. And then ultimately, all you need to do is now test. So, well, you can try it now. This link will show you the certified Jakarta E10 application server. And then on the cloud, if you want to go on the cloud, Payara Cloud allows you to deploy your microservices directly to the cloud. So basically, instead of building your container or your services on the cloud, you can just sign up for an account, and then write your code, build your WAR file, click deploy, and then it will click, and then with its Kubernetes cluster, have it create an instance for you, and then have it up and running in no time at all. Or you can use your microservices framework that you want, and if you want to start into the microservices framework, Eclipse Microprofile also got a starter page, startup.microprofile.io, where you can also start with microservices. And then from there, you can also, as I said earlier, Dockerize your application, and then use whatever cloud provider that you want to actually populate. Online, there's various tutorials from AWS to Azure to Red Hat OpenShift on how to take your application, to cut Jakarta EE application and deploy it to the cloud, either directly as a single image or clustered with Kubernetes. And finally, if you want to get involved with Jakarta itself and contribute to the framework, you can join the mailing list, or you can be an advocate for the project. The projects are also on GitHub. So if you want to see which project you want to contribute in, and then if you want to help implement a change, then you will have to sign in with Eclipse and sign the ECA, and then or engage with an ambassador, or if you talk about Jakarta, you also become an ambassador if you want to. Various resources. Jakarta One, every year there's a Jakarta One event. So last year, Jakarta One can be found on YouTube online. So you will find a lot of resources there about Jakarta EE and its features and how to get started. Their community, and also on X, or formerly Twitter. So Jakarta EE, you can actually start there, or meetups. So there's Jakarta Tech Talks. I think they happen once a month, like on month end. You can actually do, there's Eclipse do the Jakarta EE Tech Talks, so you can actually watch what's in development or what's trending in Jakarta EE. Other than that, thank you. But if we still got time, I can show you only oh, I don't know how to zoom here. Okay, so there's one project here as well. So here you'll see I've got a Jakarta EE Maven provided. So the reason I have a scope provided, meaning on both time, it doesn't have to pull all the reference APIs that I need, because the application server has it already. So, and also for The same thing for micro profile. I have it as a scope provided because my runtime already has that. And then my runtime of choice that I've choose is Open Liberty. So I have a Liberty plugin, which will basically take my application and I can run it. Once I have my application to really test my application, I use Open Liberty Maven to run my application, get it up and started, then go to the browser and test my web application. And then when I'm done, I can say Liberty stop. And then I run it as in dev mode. And then when I'm ready, I can basically kill it and then carry on with the application. The reason I'm using Open Liberty is because when I write my code, it does hot reload in real time. So I do not need to build my application all the time and get it started all the time. And so quick test is basically in real time. So thank you. If there's any questions, feel free to available. And let me check on the chat if there are questions.